Yep. All right, next game here. New York Jets 7-4 going to the Minnesota Vikings 9-2. Vikings are a 3-point favorite here. You get Mike White again. Take that of what you will, whether you think that's a good thing or bad thing, whatever it is you take it as. But the big matchup for me is Sauce Gardner versus Justin Jefferson. That's going to be huge. And now he's not a follower, so I don't expect that. But I do want to see the 10 plays where it is just him blanketing Justin Jefferson. And then just because of that, like this game is a bad matchup for the Vikings. I think the Vikings are a pass heavy team, and the Jets can stop you very, very handedly. Can stop your passing
I
offense.
love that play.
So,
Love
the Vikings are going to need two things for me to win this game, and they're going to need Za'Darius Smith to have a big game, cause a lot of commotion, and then the other side of the ball, they need to have a big game from Dalvin Cook because they need to be able to develop the run game. Well, I don't care if it's just screen passes to him all game because they just need him to take pressure away because this Jets team will get sacks, they will cause commotion, they can be just like Dallas did to the Vikings, very similar. So it's hard to pick, but I'm actually going to take the upset here with the Jets. I just think it's a bad White, and it's because I think there's not enough game film on Mike White for the Vikings to take advantage of his mistakes.
Interesting.
like it.
Similar to last year, because it took 3 games until Buffalo made him look bad, and the Vikings defense isn't anything like the Buffalo's defense of last year.
Vikings offensive line's banged up too. Darisaul's still out. So yeah, I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah. Yeah. Plus, you got.
You, what you got, Ed?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
going.
yes.
I'm going to go Minnesota. I'm going to go Minnesota here. I think if it comes down to it, I'm going to take Cousins over White. For me, I mean,
It's the daytime.
Jets are scoring more. I mean,
Classic.
Minnesota's scoring more. I mean, just that. I just think Minnesota in this position against White. Maybe there's not enough tape. But maybe there's just not enough in White's tank. We'll see. We'll see. I'm going Minnesota here. The matchup between Justin Jefferson and Sauce Gardner is definitely a reason to tune in and watch this game. To just to watch this matchup is going to be a very interesting matchup. I'd like to see if he travels. If he doesn't travel, it's going to be interesting to see if they just leave Jefferson or how this game ends up transpiring and how they're going to play it. And are we going to get a Hawkinson sighting? And is Hawkinson going to go off? I'd like to see that because this could be the key here. Hawkinson, just being unstoppable. In this game, let's see it. So I'm going Minnesota here. How about you, Nikki?
To credit what I'm taking the Jets too. Right off rip, definitely I'm taking the upset in this game as well. I want them to win. Eagles fighting for this first round bye. Minnesota's right there. Eagles have a tough matchup if we lose. Minnesota's right there to take that from us, so I need the Jets to win. But to credit what Brady was saying, I think if you look back, week 1, the only loss for the Vikings was to the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Eagles beat them, and Slay shut Justin Jefferson down. He had 1 catch for like 6 yards on like 9 attempts the entire game. Slay just put him to sleep the whole game, and we pretty much just shut that entire side of the field down, and we were able to beat them by outscoring them. Now, with the Mike White thing, I also agree with that. Not enough tape. Threw for over 300 yards last week. I think he throws for close to 300 yards this week, a pair of touchdowns. If Sauce Gardner can get the job done, and there's no doubt that I think. And another thing is with Mike White, the Vikings rank in the bottom half of the pack in their secondary and pass defense, and they run a lot of cover 2. They're in that zone. They're very, very popular for running the cover 2, so they're going to be very vulnerable for Mike White. He's very, very accurate in the short game. If you watch him, he doesn't. He talked about it. He doesn't do those big plays. He's not reaching for the stars every pass. He'd rather sit there and meticulate. Even if it's dink and dunk, he gets it done. So, I'm going Jets. What about you, Chuck?
Mike White brought quiet confidence to the Jets offense. And listening to the quote from Robert Saleh after the game, he made the easy look easy, which is something Zach Wilson couldn't do. You know, he couldn't hit those short routes that you're talking about. He made those things look hard. Um, the Jets are going to have to get that ground game going, though. If they want a chance to beat Minnesota, in my opinion, I feel like the defense can make some stops. I think it's going to be tough on the Jets defense, though, because Jefferson is not going to stay in one spot. They're going to put him in the slot. They're going to move him all around. That offense gets him the ball. There were just a couple of times where he didn't get the ball, and that was against the NFC East, and it was Dallas and Philly, as you mentioned. But I like what Eddie mentioned and Brady mentioned as well. I like Dalvin Cook. Brady brought up Dalvin Cook. I think he's going to be big. He was big against every other AFC East team that the Vikings have played. Let's mind you, they're 3-0 against the AFC East. They beat the Dolphins, they beat the Bills, and they beat the Patriots. Going for the sweep against the Jets. I think they match up pretty good against that division. And I like Hawkinson. I think he's a matchup nightmare. He's been nice, still a little quiet, but just another weapon that the Vikings have at their disposal. They still got Thielen as well, who's a possession machine, who's really hasn't been having an Adam Thielen type of year this year, but he hasn't needed to. They're 9-2. It's working what they're doing. But if Jefferson is somehow taken out of this, I like all those other guys. I think the Jets are going to be able to put up points. We'll see if Mike White can avoid turnovers like he did last week. That was big. But the Vikings are better than the Chicago Bears secondary. But we got Garrett Wilson. He's already got rapport from last year with Elijah Moore. They hooked up quite a bit down the stretch last season. So I think the Jets can hang. I think the Jets can hang, definitely, but I'm going Vikings.
Little stat.
There's a reason why they're 9-2. What's that?
No, you're good. Little stat for Garrett Wilson. Don't quote me exactly, but it's in this ballpark. He started the season with Zach Wilson, 309 yards, something like that, and 1 touchdown. Since Mike White's been in, he's got 300-plus yards and 4 touchdowns or 5 touchdowns, something like that. So with Mike White on the field with Garrett Wilson's elevated. So
yeah, you seen Garrett Wilson last week with the 2 touchdown catches, and one of them was just electric. He caught the ball over the middle of the field for like 20 yards and just he was gone. So yeah, he's a problem. I like watching him.